Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor episode number 214 based on novel. So let's start. As the aftermath of the battle dissipated in the sky, Xiao Yi and Long Yi's bodies flew out at the same time. Are you all alright? Seeing this, Xiao Yang scattered a trace of the power of the khaki holy flame, and then pulled the two of them in front of him. It's alright, I just didn't expect that Qin Tian had some reservations about fighting with me before. Xiao Yi and Qin Tian fought back not long ago, but she was repelled at the last moment, shook her head and said, "The combined power of Yi Mo's 8 people is no trivial matter." Long Yi turned into a figure, but his breath was a little weak. Ha ha ha. Mu Yingying, you finally showed up. After doing all this, Qin Tian was full of laughter. It worked. Qin Tian succeeded. When he first came here and saw Mu Yingying, Qin Tian thought that if he could capture Mu Yingying, then he would be able to completely devour the holy flame in her body, not to mention the mere profound spirit continent. I am afraid that other fighting emperors the Sifang continent will become something in his own pocket, so he hides his strength and negotiates with Xiaoyi. Even if Xiaoyi is a fire elf, how can he be so stalemate with Qin Tian, who is so powerful as a fighting emperor? Long. Oh, are you waiting for me? But when Mu Yingying heard the words, she couldn't help but smile. There was a lot of danger in her smile, and the blue cyan silk on her hair behind her was full of excitement. The azure blue flames slowly beat, while Mu Yingying looked at Qin Tian with a beautiful smile. This guy has the strength in the middle stage of one-star fighting immortal. Yi Mo, form an array. Sheng Yang and Xiao Yang can't escape this time. Looking at the azure Mu Yingying and Xiao Yang, Qin Tian laughed madly. Is this guy crazy? Seeing this scene, Xiao Yi and Long Yi both looked at each other. Although the two of them were directly defeated in the battle, the strength of the two is still there. Could it be that Qin Tian dared to ignore them? Okay. Yi Mo heard the words without hesitation, and immediately shouted, "Array." As Yi Mo's voice just fell, the remaining 9 members of the Dragon Addiction Army, with Qin Tian as the center, and the other 8 surrounded Qin Tian to form a circle. After a while, a mouthful of dark red blood spurted out of the 8 people, and then spurted out towards Qin Tian in the center of the circle. Crash. With the appearance of this scene, Xiao Yi and Long Yi's eyes became strange at the same time, because there seemed to be a trace of confinement and isolation in that blood. This guy. The two of them looked at each other, and then the power in their bodies emerged, because they could smell a hint of extreme danger from the attacks of Qin Tian and the others at this time. After waiting for so many years, this day has finally arrived. And around Qin Tian, as many as 8 groups of dark red blood floated, and they smiled at the azure Mu Yingying at a height below 0. There's something wrong with the 8 groups of dark red blood outside this guy. And the blue Mu Yingying took the lead, left Xiao Yang and the others, and then attacked Qin Tian. At this time, the only option was to defeat Qin Tian, in order to have a chance of life. The power of holy flame is indeed very strong, but with this thing, the power of holy flame is temporarily useless to me. Fusion. Anti-inflammation talisman. Seeing the azure blue Mu Yingying coming towards him with the sky-shattering azure blue holy flame, Qin Tian didn't have the slightest fear, but instead let out a long roar. As soon as Qin Tian finished speaking, the 8 groups of dark red blood in front of him suddenly spun at a high speed, and then circles of blood-colored aura continued to diffuse out. Not good. You can't let that thing fuse. But Xiao Yang below suddenly shouted. With his perception, he could clearly feel that the 8 dark red blood contained mysterious power, and this power had a certain effect on Sheng Yang. The degree of isolation is due to its fusion. I am afraid that the holy flame will temporarily lose its power. Yes. Mu Yingying, the azure blue, glanced at Xiao Yang when she heard the words, and then the dazzling azure flame in her body slowly appeared on the jade hand, as if she was preparing a terrifying attack against Qin Tian. It's too late. Just when the blue Mu Yingying was about to attack, Qin Tian burst out laughing. And as Qin Tian's voice fell, the 8 dark red bloodlines were fused at this very moment. At this point, a mysterious rune wrapped in blood-colored aura slowly appeared in the sky, and the rune seemed to contain mysterious power. Bingling fingers. At this time, the azure Mu Yingying's attack finally shot away at Qin Tian. The azure flame pointed at Qin Tian and shot straight away. Wherever the flame passed, ice and snow flew and the temperature plummeted. I'm vulnerable. When Qin Tian saw this, he couldn't help but smile, and then directly held the rune in his hand, ignoring the attack of the blue Mu Yingying. When the azure blue Mu Yingying's attack hit Qin Tian, it didn't explode as expected. Instead, it was abruptly frightened as if a fire encountered the ocean. It turned into a bubble and disappeared. However, as such a powerful attack was resisted by Qin Tian, a conspicuous crack appeared on the rune. This rune can actually make him ignore the power of Holy Flame. The Azure Mu Yingying naturally made such a small move, but with the shattering of the ****** rune, she and Xiao Yang might not be able to escape Qin Tian's claws. Yimo. Xiao Yang and Mu Yingying, leave it to me. Others are in charge. Qin Tian finished speaking, grabbed the blood-colored rune, and shot directly at Xiao Yang and Mu Yingying. Xiao Yang. And listening to Qin Tian like Tilda Xiaoyi and Long Yi both looked up. They just wanted to rescue Xiao Yang, but they were entangled by Yimo and the others. Xuanmo's revenge, I will help him avenge it. And don't worry, when I take you back, you will be able to see your brother Yang Kai. Haven't you always wanted to see him? Qin Tian immediately appeared to block Xiao Yang and Wei Lan Mu Yingying's retreat, and said immediately. Azure Mu Yingying heard the words, but her heart was slightly startled. Obviously, the word Yang Kai could affect him at any time. It's troublesome now. Xiao Yang couldn't help but said, looking at this deadly situation, he only held 2 Saint Flame crystals in his hand, which was Xiao Yang's last proof. There is no holy flame power. The two of you are trash in my eyes. Go ahead and capture it. Qin Tian finished speaking, his speed skyrocketed, and he shot directly at Xiao Yang and Azure Mu Yingying. And just when Xiao Yang's pupils madly decided to use the last resort, the blood in his body faintly emitted a fiery aura. Whoosh whoosh. But when Qin Tian's power succeeded, there were several hurried wind-breaking sounds in the distant sky, and a colorful grudge containing terrifying power directly hit Qin Tian's attack. Brumbling. Qin Tian's blow failed, and he raised his head in confusion, but after seeing the person coming, a heavy feeling appeared in his heart. The Medusa family? Shifu, why did you ruin the good things of my Xianling royal family? Don't tell me you want to completely become a mortal enemy with my Xianling royal family. Qin Tian couldn't help roaring after seeing who was coming. Because the one who stopped his attack was the Shifu of the Medusa clan with the strength of a half-immortal. With the addition of the Snake King who was close to the peak strength of the Do Emperor, and the 3 9-star Do Emperor powerhouses, this lineup can be said to be extremely large. Humph. Qin Tian, you have repeatedly led the powerful people of the clan to break into the territory of our Medusa clan. This account book fairy has not yet settled with you. Shifu's old body suddenly shook, a tyrannical force. Immediately, a snake-shaped scepter appeared in the palm of the hand, and was knocked down heavily in the void. Crash. As Shifu's serpentine scepter was knocked down, giant snakes of colored energy suddenly emerged from the bottom of the serpentine scepter, and roared towards Qin Tian hideously. Damn. Seeing this, Qin Tian waved his hand and blocked Shifu's attack directly, but his expression became extremely ugly, because he knew that if Shifu and the others insisted on helping Xiao Yang, adding Xiao Yi and Long Yi, I am afraid that Xiao Yang can really escape today. Shifu, do you want to ruin the future of your Medusa clan for a hairy boy? Qin Tian also knew that the 5 Medusa clan members in front of him were quite powerful, and immediately lost their previous momentum. Marutu boy? Xiao Yang is a noble of our Medusa clan. If your Xianling royal family insists on keeping him, my Medusa clan is not afraid to go to war with you. Facing Qin Tian's sternness, Shifu's old body stood upright. Straight and unafraid. When did senior brother Xiao Yang provoke the powerhouses of the Medusa family? Or the nobles of the Medusa family? When the disciples of the Funxiang Pavilion heard this, they couldn't help but be surprised, and immediately turned their eyes to the top of the Funxiang Pavilion. This guy. And Zhu Jin and the others all looked at each other. Obviously the Medusa family would protect Xiao Yang like this, even if they didn't know about Xiao Yang and the Medusa family. Why are you standing still? Move. If you have nowhere to stay, then go to our Medusa clan's territory. When Xiao Yang and Azure Mu Yingying were surprised, a spirited old man beside Shifu scolded Xiao Yang. Let's go. Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help but say, he grabbed Mu Yingying's jade hand with one hand, and then his speed skyrocketed, and he fled directly into the distance. It was only now that Xiao Yang knew that the person who had just emerged from his body was a strong person from the Medusa clan. After all, Xiao Yang and Kaylin were married, so Xiao Yang's body was more or less involved. Swallow the blood of the python. Hey, you! As Azure Mu Yingying was about to say something, there was a trace of abnormality in her body. Damn it, I was begging me to come out just now, and now? Azure Mu Yingying said, slowly shaking her head. The next moment, the blue aura slowly retreated into the body, and an aura that Xiao Yang was familiar with emerged. Are you alright? Xiao Yang asked while running, Obviously the current Mu Yingying is the body. Yep. That was the spirit of holy flame just now. After Mu Yingying returned to normal, the aura in her body was extremely weak, but her palm was pulled by Xiao Yang, and there was a hint of crimson on her pretty face. Xiao Yang, where are you running? Seeing that Qin Tian was temporarily stopped by Shifu, Yimo couldn't help but say. Your opponent is us. When Yimo's 8 people separated and trapped Xiao Yi and Long Yi, one after another tyrannical figure directly stopped the Dragon Addiction Legion. Asshole. The 3 strongest among the 8 leaders of the Medusa clan. Yimo's face was also extremely ugly at this time, because the one who stopped them was the strongest among the 8 major tribes in the Medusa clan except the Snake King. The 3 of them all possess the strength of the 9-star Dodi, and the Medusa clan powerhouses are cunning by nature and their fighting spirit is highly poisonous, and the powerhouses of the same level are seldom able to fight against them. When did Xiao Yang befriend the powerful Medusa family? Although the relationship between Burning Incense Pavilion and the Medusa family is good, it's not good enough to risk their lives to save them. Some strong people watching the show couldn't help but say, Xiao Yi, Long Yi, you all go first, we are responsible here. When Xiao Yang and Mu Yingying fled directly, Shifu said to Xiao Yi and the 2. Yes. Xiao Yi and Long Yi nodded when they saw this. They knew that since Shifu and his party dared to come, they must have been prepared. Let's go. Xiao Yi and Long Yi looked at each other, and then the aura in their bodies soared, breaking through the siege of the dragon-loving legion in an instant, and then heading towards the desert territory of the Medusa clan. Shifu, Snake King, this time, you all have to die. Seeing Xiao Yang and the 4 fleeing one after another, Qin Tian's expression became extremely strained. Ha ha ha. Qin Tian, you have a lot of strength as a fighting immortal. The Snake King on the side couldn't help but fall into the pit. Since you let them go, let's take the lives of the 5 of you to resist. But Qin Tian said sinisterly. Sorry, you may not have this chance. Just as Qin Tian's voice fell, when the other 8 members of the Dragon Addiction Legion wrapped up the 5 people including Shifu, a young girl said with a hippie smile. 3-colored swallowing python? Not good. Hurry up and block the space. Qin Tian was shocked when he saw the special mark on the girl's body. Late. The girl said softly, and immediately turned into a 3-colored swallowing python, her huge tail slapped heavily towards the space in front of her, all of them appearing as a space channel. When the 5 people of Shifu saw Tilda, there was no longer any hesitation, they stepped into it and disappeared. Damn. The power of space among the 3 colors. But Qin Tian couldn't help cursing when he saw the disappearing Shifu and his party. This kind of space power derived from blood, even Doxian Qin Tian can't restrain it. Let's go. Looking at the ruined Blood River town, Qin Tian directly cast a trace of resentment at the few people in the Funxiang Pavilion and Zhujin, and then spoke. Just finished speaking, the 9 members of the Dragon Addiction Legion will simply disappear here. Hihi, this dragon-loving army is really unwise. The entire dragon-loving legion was dispatched to capture Xiao Yang, a middle-stage 7-star Do Di, and finally he was forced out of 2 Dozian, a half-immortal, and the strong Medusa clan. I'm afraid this time, they seem to be kicking the iron plate. Some people watching the fun couldn't help laughing as they watched all the parties leave. Funxiang Pavilion disciple, return to the sect. This time, it is necessary to summon the power of the various super sects in Shentian Santian to impeach the Xianling royal family. Zhu Jin left such a sentence and disappeared immediately. As soon as Yi Zhujin's voice fell, all the powerhouses around him knew that this time Xian Santian would really change the sky. Because the people present could smell a trace of evil aura from the people in the Dragon Addiction Legion just now. This aura is similar to that of the alien race. In the golden desert everywhere, the sound of breaking wind could be heard incessantly. The desert has been a forbidden area for human beings since ancient times. Here, human beings will gradually become cornered due to lack of water and food. They will stay in the desert completely and turn into bones, which is why they have the name of the Desert of Death. What a terrifying desert storm. At this time, in the Desert of Death, 2 figures flew one after another, and these 2 were Mu Yingying and Xiao Yang. In front of the 2, a desert storm with a height of tens of meters formed, but it did not affect the 2 of them. Where are we going now? Mu Yingying asked slightly. Apparently in the desert, she had completely lost her sense of direction. However, Mu Yingying's face was extremely ugly at this time. Obviously, whether it was because of her body or the holy flame in her body, she fell into a weak state as soon as she came to the front. Let's go to the Medusa family's territory first. The seniors who just rescued us also told us, I think they should have no malicious intentions. Xiao Yang said, although Mu Yingying lost her sense of direction, but Xiao Yang was able to distinguish clearly with a faint trace of blood in her body. Out of the location of the Medusa family. Xiao Yang. Mu Yingying watched Xiao Yang prepare to move, and suddenly said in a deep voice, with some worry in her voice. What's wrong? Xiao Yang turned around and asked in doubt. My brother, what's going on? Mu Yingying asked, still unwilling to give up. Obviously, when Yang Kai was rescued, after Fen Tian's inspection, no safety hazards were found, but why was there a mutiny? Things have been bothering Mu Yingying. Senior Yang Kai should have some extraterritorial evil clan power remaining in his body after being caught by the Xianling royal family, so he was controlled by the extraterritorial evil clan. That kind of thing, even if it is as powerful as Fenshen, has not found it. Xiao Yang said slightly. But isn't holy flame the deadliest poison for the alien race? How could it be possible to control? Mu Yingying was still puzzled. I don't know either, but don't worry, I will save him. Xiao Yang shook his head and said, and after seeing Mu Yingying's depressed mood, he hurriedly added a sentence. If my brother really helped Ju, please get to know him in the end. A trace of abnormality flashed in Mu Yingying's big, smart eyes, and after speaking, she moved directly towards the Medusa clan's territory. Alas! Seeing this, Xiao Yang hurriedly followed. Not long after, the Medusa family's underground crystal palace. Old Snake. Seeing Shifu returning with several other people, the other strong men of the 8 major tribes of Medusa who had already been waiting here said respectfully, Sit down. Shifu said slightly, and then stood directly in front of the crystal throne, facing away from the many strong men of the Medusa family. As for Xiao Yang, Mu Yingying, and Xiao Yilongyi, they were behind Shifu and didn't say a word. Even if he didn't have to feel it deliberately, Xiao Yang knew that the weakest of the many powerhouses standing here at this time might have reached the perfection level of the 8-star Do Emperor, and there were more of the 9-star Do Emperor. And everyone knew that with such silent anger, it was obvious that something was going to happen. Ads by Pub Future. Old Snake, Snake King, I'll open the skylight and say something bright. Is it worth it to use the power of our Medusa clan for such a hairy boy, even if the grievances with the Xianling royal family are even heavier? And the silence did not last long. On the seat, an old man with resentful eyes, but he stared at Xiao Yang and said, Among the Medusa clan today, the 8 major tribes have gradually merged under the leadership of Queen Medusa. It's a pity that the 4 of you are immortal and refuse to merge. And the Snake King next to Shifu shouted angrily, said directly, Humph. Snake King, you don't need to use Queen Medusa to oppress me. Although she has obtained the inheritance of the 10-colored sky-swallowing python, she is an outsider after all, so how can she be like us? The old man on the seat continued to say, Merble, don't go too far. If it wasn't for Queen Medusa, I'm afraid you would have died dozens of times. Seeing the figure on the seat chattering, the Snake King couldn't help roaring. The 4 of us are firmly opposed to Queen Medusa's rule. And this human being, let's give it to the Xianling royal family as soon as possible for shelter. Otherwise, it will attract an attack from the Xianling royal family, and our Medusa clan will be greatly injured, said Mobar in the seat. Mobile, the leader of the Black Snake tribe among the 8 major tribes of the Medusa family, has reached the level of a 3-rank 9-star Do Emperor. Sister Kaylin is not a weirdo. You are talking nonsense. As soon as Mobile finished speaking, a young girl with 3-color light beside him questioned slightly. Okay, this is the time between adults. Xiaoqing, take her down. After Shifu finished speaking, Xiaoqing immediately appeared and took the 3-colored swallowing python down. Boy, since this matter is because of you, you should solve it. Shifu ignored Mobar and said to Xiao Yang. Just now, Shifu brought the Snake King and 3 tribal leaders to rescue Xiao Yang, and the 5 naturally tended to Xiao Yang. However, there were still 4 leaders who were dissatisfied with Queen Medusa and Xiao Yang, which is why they are now situation. Yeah. Xiao Yang agreed softly, and then walked towards Mobar. As for Xiaoyi and Longyi's body, the power surged slightly. Obviously once Mobar launched an attack, the 2 would not hesitate. The shot. You are the human that the queen often mentioned? Mobile watched Xiao Yang walking towards him and couldn't help but ask, because this human is really weak, and only has the strength of the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor, although there is a mysterious power in him that makes him quite afraid. Wherever you go, trouble will follow. Xiao Yang said to himself softly. Boom boom boom. As soon as the voice fell, a trace of blood containing 9 colors in the body suddenly burst out from the body. This blood was left in Xiao Yang's body by Kaylin when he was in Dochi continent, Even Xiao Yang has only discovered it now. Fart. With the emergence of this drop of blood, Mobile's face changed greatly, and even his body did not obey, and bowed directly to Xiao Yang. Now, but what's the problem? Xiao Yang looked at Mobile and knelt down directly, then asked with a hint of seriousness. The most taboo of the monsters is the power of blood. As long as the power of blood is pure enough, there is no problem that cannot be solved. Why do you have the blood of the 9-colored sky swallowing python on you? Mobile raised his head with difficulty and looked at Xiao Yang in surprise. Because she is my wife. When many Medusa powerhouses were surprised, a voice slowly came out of Xiao Yi's mouth. At that time, the entire Crystal Palace sounded like thunder. What? As soon as Xiao Yang's voice fell, in the entire Crystal Palace, except for Shifu, other Medusa clan powerhouses were all shocked. How powerful is Queen Medusa today? A powerhouse with the perfection level of 1-star fighting immortals. The guy in front of him actually said that Queen Medusa was his wife. Such arrogant words would probably be shot to death by the strong men of the Medusa family. The marriage and love of the Medusa family is different from that of human beings. The women of the Medusa family prefer men who are stronger than themselves, and do not consider those who are weaker than themselves. So when Xiao Yang said this, almost no one believed it. Boy, rice can be eaten indiscriminately. Don't talk nonsense. Although Mobile was dissatisfied with Queen Medusa's rule, in the final analysis, Queen Medusa was also a godlike existence in their minds, so she was insulted by a weak human male. Growled continuously. I believe Senior Shifu naturally knows whether the words are true or false. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, the blood-emitting 9 colors of light dissipated slightly towards Shifu. It's true. The Queen can only tell me about this matter. The Queen is from a lower plane. Where does she have a human husband? And after feeling Xiao Yang's 9-color blood, Shifu also smelled the same breath as Queen Medusa, and endured it. Kept talking. How could it be possible? Even if Shifu spoke, the other 8 leaders were still full of shock. For someone as powerful as Queen Medusa, their spouse must be a very good person. How could such a weak human being? No matter what, she is my wife. Xiao Yang also looked at these powerhouses and spoke up. However, Xiao Yang's voice this time was obviously not to them, but to Mu Yingying. Xiao Yang believes that she is not a good person, but she can also vaguely sense Mu Yingying's affection for her. So far, I am afraid she can only use Kaylin's matter to make her want to quit. Wife. Mu Yingying didn't understand what Xiao Yang meant at first, but only after she said it for the second time. Xiao Yang. Are you from a family? Mu Yingying looked at Xiao Yang and said, her voice was full of sadness. Mu Yingying converted to human beings, and finally met a guy she liked. In the end, he actually told herself that he was married. He is a family man. Feel sorry. This matter has lied to you for a long time. In fact, I wanted to say it a long time ago, but I just never had a chance. Xiao Yang watched Mu Yingying's pupils shrink tightly. Said, feel sorry? Apologize is enough. Are you a family man? Then what am I doing to you all these years? Mu Yingying said in a weeping voice, walking towards Xiao Yang step by step. She was already unable to cry. I'm sorry. Seeing this, Xiao Yang had no choice but to shake his head. Xiao Yang knew that instead of making Mu Yingying suffer in the future, it is better to speak up now, otherwise it will be 10,000 times more painful in the future. Mu Yingying burst out laughing, then turned into a meteor, and disappeared directly here. It was obvious that she had only experienced the pain of her brother, and it was hard to find someone like Xiao Yang who she could rely on. It's what it looks like now. Big brother, I'll go take a look. Mu Yingying was extremely unstable and left the Crystal Palace directly. At that time, Xiao Yi said something and followed. I can't tell, you are still a master who likes to provoke right and wrong. Long Yi joked to Xiao Yang while watching Xiao Yi and Mu Yingying leave one after another. Okay, let's do business first. I hope she's all right. Xiao Yang said to the place where Mu Yingying disappeared. Senior, I don't know why you are trying to save me this time. After revealing their identities, the attitude of the powerhouses in the Medusa clan towards Xiao Yang also changed drastically. The husband-in-law of Queen Medusa, this status alone is enough to make Xiao Yang walk sideways here, not to mention that Xiao Yang has the power of the 9-colored sky-swallowing python. Although it is extremely weak, it is genuine. Ha. This matter has to start with the Queen. Shifu also spoke when he saw Xiao Yang's question. And as Shifu opened his mouth, the powerhouses of the other 8 tribes nodded and listened carefully, because the matter about Queen Medusa has always been a taboo topic in the clan. I remember that the child just came to the Xianling continent. Because of the power of the 9-colored swallowing python on his body, he was targeted by the powerhouses of the Xianling royal family. She was extremely weak at that time. In a crisis, I simply rescued her. When she returned to the clan, she showed amazing talent, so because at that time, our Medusa clan was divided for many years, I moved my heart of compassion, and directly excluded the public opinion and sent her to the Medusa temple. She lived up to expectations, and successfully obtained the power of the 10-colored sky-swallowing python, so that her strength broke through to the perfection of the 1-star fighting immortal. But not long ago, she seemed to feel a familiar breath, and that familiar breath should be you. Yeah, after I sensed your breath, my always quiet appearance suddenly became restless. I left a sentence that you were in danger, and went straight to you. Therefore, the queen settled some family affairs, and went directly to Shuehe town. And because the old man was worried, he went with the queen's cronies, but he didn't find the queen along the way. Because you have some queen's aura left on you, so I saved you and wanted to ask about the queen's trail. Shifu said slightly. As Shifu's voice just fell, the other 8 tribes of hungry powerhouses were relieved. At this moment, even if they were stupid, they knew what Xiao Yang's identity was. It seems that this time, things are in trouble. And Xiao Yang's expression became strange after hearing this. But don't worry. The queen's current strength can be as good as 1-star fighting immortals. There are almost no rivals in the entire Shenzhen 3 days. Just wait here for the queen to come back. Shifu Zaidu said. Now, that's the only way to do it. But as soon as Xiao Yang's voice fell, his heart suddenly became uncomfortable, and it was obvious that something flashed heavily in his heart. Snake King, take Xiao Yang down to recuperate. When the injury is healed and the queen returns, it will be time for a decisive battle with the Xianling royal family. Shifu Zaidu said. Little brother Xiao Yang, please come with me. The Snake King heard this and took Xiao Yang down directly, and Xiao Yang was also preparing to take care of his injuries after the war. With the Snake King taking Xiao Yang down, Xiao Yang also started a journey of retreat. After all, the fact that the sect competed to withdraw from the sect made Xiao Yang clearly aware of his weakness. Damn, power. Xiao Yang sat in a quiet stone room, clenched his fists, and couldn't help roaring. He knew that this time, if it wasn't for the luck of Xiao Yi and Long Yi, as well as Mu Yingying and the strong men of the Medusa clan, I'm afraid his end would not be much better. The current strength has reached the middle stage of the 7-star Do-Di, so let's talk about restoring the strength first. Xiao Yang also knew that he couldn't eat hot tofu in a hurry, so he said in a deep voice. As soon as the words fell, Xiao Yang swallowed the pills one by one, and as the pills were devoured, the power in Xiao Yang's body also recovered rapidly, and he recovered a lot in a short period of time. Although the damage in this battle is not small, there are so many magical medicines, and it is only a matter of time before they recover. You kids' resilience really makes people slap their tongues secretly. After a few hours, the soul-devouring talisman also floated out and said to Xiao Yang. Senior. Seeing the appearance of the soul-eater talisman, Xiao Yang also said respectfully. Xiao Yang knew that the soul-eater talisman was the 12 evil soldiers of the ghost world, with infinite power, and inside it was hidden a strong man like the soul-eater. Your current strength is still in the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor. Although this battle has put a lot of load on you and has allowed you to successfully reach the peak of the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor, the breakthrough is still one step short. Soul Eater said. Yes. Xiao Yang nodded secretly. That's right, Saint Flame Crystal. The next moment, the Soul Eater talisman said. Hearing this, Xiao Yang nodded immediately, and a strong excitement emerged. The blue-colored holy flame crystal of the ghost face and soul flame gently appeared on Xiao Yang's palm. Even if there was no power overflowing at this time, but only a hint of mild temperature, Xiao Yang knew the powerful power contained in the ghost face and soul flame. Not to mention anything else, the fact that ghost face and soul flame ranks as high as 24 is enough to prove its power. You must know that when Xiao Yang devoured Huaxin Tianyang at the beginning, his strength had skyrocketed. Now that he devoured ghost face soul flame, his skyrocketing strength is probably obvious to all. Try it first to see if it can be swallowed. As Xiao Yang looked at it, the Soul Eater talisman spoke directly. Okay. Hearing this, Xiao Yang nodded and agreed. The next moment, he sat cross-legged directly, and then deep inside his body, Fenju started to run at a high speed, and circles of invisible power emerged directly, wrapping the ghost face and soul flame tightly. Seemingly aware of Xiao Yang's release of Fenju's power to devour himself, a dazzling ray of light erupted above the blue holy flame crystal. Damn it! And with the appearance of that light, Xiao Yang's complexion also became ugly. Sure enough. Seeing this, Soul Eater shook his head slightly. Obviously this scene had been expected. Senior, what's going on? Xiao Yang also gave up the idea of swallowing Ghost Face Soul Flame. After all, Sheng Yangjing produced such a strong resistance. According to my guess, it should be related to the Gore Fiend. Soul Eater said. Blood Demon Envoy? And when Xiao Yang heard the name, he couldn't help being shocked. In the River of Blood, we did kill the Gore Fiend, but that was only half of his power. If I expected it well, you can only devour this holy flame if you completely obliterate the Gore Fiend. After all, this holy flame suppresses the Gore Fiend in the demon suppression domain. Soul Eater said. It should be like this. Xiao Yang nodded secretly after hearing this. Then let's wait. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he just wanted to put away the holy flame crystal, but he found that above the blue holy flame crystal, a cyan flame slowly emerged into his body. Xiao Yang's expression changed greatly. This is... Xiao Yang frowned, obviously not knowing the reason for this, but from the blue flame, he smelled a holy flame that was stronger than his own fire heart Qianyang. Good boy. I never imagined that your power to kill half of the blood demons would actually be recognized by Saint Flame Crystal. Although you can't devour it now, you can use the power of the holy flame crystal. The Soul Eater is indeed well informed, and smiled directly. Can you use it or not? Xiao Yang was stunned, and said something slightly. Yes. Soul Eater said with a smile. It's interesting now. When Xiao Yang heard this, he also laughed happily. In the past, in the Dochi continent, his most powerful ultimate move was the fusion of different fires, but when he came to the Dodi continent, the power of the different fires was not enough to instantly kill the powerhouses of the same level, but the holy flame appeared again. Now that the two holy flames can be used, Xiao Yang has a crazy idea to fuse them, and he doesn't need to think about it to know that if the fusion is successful, I am afraid that such power will definitely create a new system. Senior, this junior has a ruthless request. After collecting the Saint Yangjing, Xiao Yang also said respectfully to the Soul Eater Talisman. Let's talk. The Soul Eater Talisman looked at Xiao Yang, as if he had already guessed Xiao Yang's intentions. I want to save Yang Kai. Xiao Yang also said with a firm expression. Hey, boy, you have to think clearly. Yang Kai is originally a holy flame. How could it be controlled by a foreign evil clan? There must be some unknown secrets in it. And in this mysterious royal family, I don't know why, there is a faint power that makes me a little jealous. Soul Eater said. I promised Mu Yingying that we could save Yang Kai, and we can be considered urching. Xiao Yang said helplessly. Mu Yingying, that's a good girl, and not to mention that she is also a holy flame, should you consider accepting her? The Soul Eater Talisman suddenly joked. Come on, if the two of my family knew about this, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to eat it and walk around. After the Soul Eater Talisman finished speaking, the faces of Zuna and Kaylin appeared in Xiao Yang's mind. Xiao Yang knew that although Zuna looked like a good girl in front of him, how could she be a simple person who could be the proud daughter of the entire ancient clan, not to mention Kaylin, who had the mighty and fierce name of Queen Medusa. Scale. Don't worry, even if this Xianling royal family is a sea of swords and flames, my Soul Eater will definitely accompany you to make a foray. But after it's done, you have to go with me to the ghost world to understand some of my wishes, said Soul Eater. No problem. Xiao Yang agreed immediately after hearing this. Now, just wait for the time to come. I'm afraid there will be a big move in the Xianling royal family. However, during this time, you should prepare the things that devour the holy flame, said Soul Eater. Yes. Xiao Yang nodded secretly when he heard the words. The materials he had prepared for swallowing holy flames were enough for Xiao Yang to swallow up those ranked 24th and later, and the ghost face soul flame was just within this standard. As for the things needed to devour the holy flame, except for Shu Shengdan, which has not yet been refined, everything else has been prepared. Just do what you say, and immediately prepare to start refining medicine pills. However, when Xiao Yang was refining Shu Shengdan, unknown things happened outside. This video will end here.